In this video, I will explain how the routing model works in the Oracle Digital Assistant. Human conversations often involve multiple topics and context switches. A digital assistant is an intelligent routing container of one or many skills. Human conversation seldom follows a single storyline. Conversations go back and forth between topics, and for humans, it is easy to follow because our brains are capable of switching context without missing information. Oracle Digital Assistant does exactly this. It detects topic switches while maintaining the conversation context. At the heart of the routing model are confidence scores, which are calculated for the individual skills and intents to measure how well they match with the user's input. This is a visual representation of the entire process that starts whenever a user says or types something. The channel handling the conversation will pass the input to the associated digital assistant, which will then check that against its routing model. The outcome will be a confidence score of the skill and intent to call. But before looking to the details, we need to clarify some concepts. Understanding these concepts is important before looking at the routing model. Explicit routing is when the user uses the skill invocation name. For example, ask Spotify to play Metallica is explicitly asking Spotify to do something. Implicit routing, on the other hand, will look to the user's input and use confidence scores and thresholds to identify where to route the message to. For example, "Can I check my account?" is an implicit request. Candidate skills are the skills that have a confidence score above the defined threshold for which we need to look into the intents. Candidate flows are the intents that have a confidence score above the defined threshold that we need to consider when routing. System intents are the predefined digital assistant intents like help, exit, or greeting for which we also have a confidence score. If you find this complicated, do not worry, because once you see this at work, it will become clear. This is a digital assistant with 3 skills: retail, financial, and pizza. We can see the invocation name for the pizza skill is Pizza King. Explicit routing happens when we use the skill's invocation name. The routing tab on the right panel has all the routing details explained, and you can see that the explicit routing rule was applied here. Since we are explicitly telling the DA where to route the request, the other skills will not be considered. Implicit routing, on the other hand, will need to be evaluated. The first thing it checks is the DA system intent. If there is a match for any of the system intents, it will route it there. Otherwise, it needs to check the candidate skills. These are all the skills with potential matching intents. Finally, it checks the intent confidence score within each skill. If there is only one intent above the threshold, it routes the request there. Otherwise, it will display a disambiguation dialog to the user. Let's see all of these at work. "Can I order a pizza?" is an implicit request, for which the DA will need to identify the routing path. The first thing the DA did was to check if there was a match for system intents. Since there was none, it checked the candidate skills and the candidate flows. This was a simple case, as there was only one candidate skill and one candidate flow, which means the conversation was routed to that particular intent: order pizza. "What's my card balance?" ends up in disambiguation. There are no system intent matches, but we do have 2 candidate skills and 2 candidate flows with confidence scores above the threshold. Since the DA was not able to route the request with certainty, it prompted the user with a disambiguation dialog. Let's now try help. This is a system intent, and as such it brings us the help navigation cards. There was a 100% match with the help intent and no other skills were considered. Finally, an example that shows that context plays a role in routing decisions. Here we ask to list stores, which is an intent from the retail skill. When we ask for the balance, there won't be any disambiguation in this case. The reason is the fact that context played a role in giving extra weight to the same skill intent. All of the routing parameters are adjustable. Routing parameters are like ingredients in a recipe, and similarly to a chef, one needs to adjust routing parameters to achieve optimal system performance. Check out our assistant RT for more information. The link is available in the description.